Hi, everyone. I'm Jeanette Palmer, and I'm joined by my co-host today, Kathy Waters. Jim is in Aruba, so we'll be talking to him next week about that.
Yeah.
So today,
no bitterness there at all.
especially when it's been raining here, no sunshine. Yeah. We'll be talking to him about that. So today, what we're going to do is Kathy and I are both master trainers for a program called Dementia Live. And it helps to simulate what it's like to have dementia, to create more of an empathy and understanding for, for those caring for people with dementia, as well as the community in general. So today we're going to put on our master trainer hats for this company, AgeUcate, and they are the producer of the Dementia Live program, and bring you a show about creating a dementia-friendly faith community. Mm-hmm. And so what we find frequently is when an individual gets dementia or starts experiencing the symptoms of that, they begin to isolate themselves because they're conscious of it themselves and are less likely about going out. So in addition to creating dementia-friendly communities to keep the disease from progressing, one of the things that the people with dementia are losing is the ability to go to their faith community and share in their beliefs. And so we need to expand the opportunity for them to continue going and sharing their belief with their system, with their support system. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Jeanette, there's not one kind of cookie cutter universal approach, as you know, to making a house of worship more dementia friendly. It's sort of a journey that the congregation goes on together to find ways to be more inclusive, more accessible, and more engaging with folks that frequently have significant memory losses, as well as sometimes other cognitive impairments. So it's everyone has to take their own journey if you're a faith community. Don't you agree? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm kind of interested. Is faith part of the memory that dementia patients tend to maintain, like what they do when they talk memory, or they'll talk little individual bits? Is the faith the one that really they probably the biggest, strongest one that they maintain throughout the diagnosis?
Because it's something most people have learned at an early age.
Okay.
And so we find that the memory is kind of erased from the most recent to the oldest.
Right.
And so if you're a child and you've been raised in this faith, then it's kind of ingrained in your being. When we find in our business as home care providers, I've had a couple of clients that have had dementia and were really, really agitated. And what we found was, and they were Catholic, and because the rosary was hanging on the bedside, and so I was able to say the rosary with them, and that calmed them down. Just as any other faith, if it's that repetitive sound, and it's something that's like in their soul, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and
that's quite interesting. Now I see the importance. So I was putting the connection together when you said of focusing on this specific topic for today. So this is very eager. I'm very interested.
And the hippocampus is that part of the brain they say that kind of all of our data is at, that filing cabinet. And sure enough, Alzheimer's and Lewy body dementia and frontotemporal disorders, they all affect those starting, recent memories get really affected. Short term, can't think of the word you're going to say. Frequently you'll hear that. Mm-hmm. And then, as it progresses, then you get to those older memories. But then there's that other part of the brain, which I think fits into the spiritual journey, is the amygdala is where our emotional memories are kept. And so I would think we all, if we've been raised in a certain religion, that there is an emotional component that's probably those memories are kept in the amygdala, how it felt to be at church, how it felt to be going through your first communion or
sure.
Or even vacation Bible school.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of memories.
Excitement as a kid even to do that. And then as a parent, teach. Yep.
Right. And we have, we have a couple of clients that, even though they're in their late 80s, think that they are like 16, 17. And so when we assign caregivers, we've got younger caregivers. We thought that maybe somebody older would be better initially because of the experience and everything, but we found that the clients were gravitating more to the younger caregivers, and we find that, they're in their mind younger, so they're experiencing younger things. They're willing to do more things in that age group because they think that they're younger. And the other thing too is the feeling that they have about being that age. You know, we had one client that would not participate or be responsive to physical therapy. And it was women that were providing the physical therapy, but as soon as the man physical therapist came on, that client like put her peacock feathers on and, you know, was willing to participate in anything that he's told her to do, because at that point in time, you know, she was a 17-year-old teenager flirting with that guy.
Sure.
You know, and so,
I've heard that. Yeah, I've seen that before too.
And so just a matter of where the individual's mind is. We also find that, you know, music is one of the key factors to the memory and how it makes you feel. And obviously we know that religion has a lot of music associated to it with it.
The traditional hymns that they would really remember.
Right, and the fact that they know them themselves. And so we've seen videos about where people are actually nonverbal, but when someone is singing a hymn or they're hearing it, then they're able to say the words.
I believe it.
Right. So, you know, when you think about a faith community, we work in the industry, you know, we know we come in contact with individuals with dementia every day. But if you think about a faith community, maybe the first step is for everyone to be informed, you know, the obvious things. It's a community problem. It doesn't happen in isolation. It doesn't discriminate. Everyone of every race, kindred, and tongue can have equal opportunity to get it.
So should we talk about the statistics now that you've said that?
Right, and the numbers only increase, so go ahead.
And so right now the dementia statistics in the U.S. in 2018 are really frightening, so let me share that with you. Every 65 seconds, so nearly every minute, someone in the United States develops Alzheimer's disease. So that's over 5 million Americans are living with the disease, and as many as 16 million will have the disease by 2050. And that's when the silver tsunami, I think, is supposed to hit, right?
Yes.
And then the front temporal disorders are the second most common cause of dementia after Alzheimer's. And Lewy body dementia affects 1 million Americans. So saying all of that, I think we also need to explain that dementia is an umbrella term, that there's all kinds of different diagnoses under that umbrella term. But the fact is that some of the characteristics that the individual is exhibiting may be temporary because it's a urinary tract infection. It might be, some
medication.
Yeah, things like that. Yeah. So we would be able to reverse those versus, front temporal or the Lewy body dementia, even Alzheimer's. We're not going to be able to reverse those. So we need to learn how to react to them and how to care for them. But also back to the statistics, between 2000 and 2015, so in the past 15 years, deaths from heart disease fell 11%, while the deaths from Alzheimer's increased 123%.
Isn't that something?
And so it's 1 in 3 seniors are going to die from Alzheimer's or another dementia, which is more than breast and prostate cancers combined. But we don't really hear about that. No, we really don't hear about that. And the fact of the matter is that the lifetime cost of care for an individual with dementia is $341,080.
Yep. And all that
so
data
more
came
than
from
more than
Alzheimer's
a quarter of $1 million. And the fact is that the average life expectancy for Alzheimer's after they've been diagnosed is 8 to 10 years. And that the range has been seen from 3 to 20 years. So it depends on the type of Alzheimer's you have. But we also find that the mind is what goes, but the body is strong. And the heart and all the organs and everything, they may not have some other disease, that they may be healthy as a horse, and it's just the Alzheimer's that's taking them.
Right. And then to tack on at the beginning of that, the experts estimate there's 2.8 or almost 3 years between the onset of the symptoms and the diagnosis. So this is a long haul. So in a faith community can be, the community is going to be affected by the symptoms, and then the caregiver burnout of those loved ones that are caring for those with those symptoms for a long time. It's not like a heart attack that you're going to get treated for and hopefully recover. This is a long haul, and so that folks, I don't think, get that about dementia.
And I guess I should have said that those statistics are scary, because that's what we're trying to prevent. Is we want to create a reality, but also we want to train people on how it feels to have dementia, so that they have a better understanding of it and they're not afraid of it.
How did you guys come to figure about this Dementia Live that you, I know that you share that with a lot of groups and individuals. How did you guys come across it to begin with?
So the companies that we own right at home is a national franchise, and this company, AgeUcate, offered a discount for us to have training for it. So we went.
Yep.
And then
It's one of the best things you ever did, I bet.
Yeah.
and so then we were so passionate about it that we started sharing the experience with first responders and other professionals in the industry, even Alzheimer's support groups, and the people that all of the people that have experienced this have come away with a newfound knowledge and feeling towards the disease. But at the end of the experience, we have everybody give us their survey. We take a survey and say, how did it affect you? Did you, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? And everybody really liked it. That they really felt that it made a difference in their life and how they're going to move forward. And so, as the result of the Dementia Live experience with the Alzheimer's support group in Dundee, one of the participants was a volunteer in Hampshire, and she went back to the village of Hampshire and helped to get all of the volunteers trained on Dementia Live and what it's like to have dementia and how to respond to individuals with dementia, as well as creating a dementia-friendly community in Hampshire.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, this is something with the stats that you've been putting out there that every kind of organization, major organization, not just the faith-based that you're discussing today, but organizations should have access to this for the compassion.
Right.
And I think even the focal points, things to watch for, and to recognize.
Exactly. Yep. Unless you have some knowledge of it, you don't know what to expect or what to look for. And so, I guess that's what we have, like, so many passions, between, like, veterans and seniors and all of that. But the reality is that I think we're both really passionate about sharing this knowledge with the community, whether it's faith-based or business-based or, just family-based, because it creates a better understanding of what it's like to have dementia. And then we feel that those individuals treat the people with dementia with more kindness and compassion.
Absolutely.
And that's really what we want.
We came across a website. It's called Discipleship Ministries, and it's part of the United Methodist Church. But to kick off kind of the what churches or faith communities need to think about, they gave a good idea of 5 areas you need to consider that are affected by dementia. First, obviously, is judgment and making irrational decisions. Time and spatial relationships, getting lost, I've seen this in my own church where someone with dementia, the program changes that morning and they get all off on what are we doing now, and their whole morning is off because that's not the way they are used to church going that day. Unusual behavior, getting agitated, physical challenges due to their balance problems, their hand-eye coordination, or their sensories. With dementia, our hearing, our depth perception, our sensitivity to temperature are all affected. So these are things when people are trying to be more dementia-friendly in a faith community, they need to be addressing those type things.
And I do think most faith communities are like handicapped accessible, but there's other things that need to be taken into consideration for people that have dementia, like you were saying, with regard to, the sound, the visual, the space itself, and even like the bathroom and how to know if it's the men's bathroom or the women's bathroom, so that maybe they would have some independence in the house of worship.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I remember our church has a individual service that stays the same all the time, and it's the old school version. We have just one sermon or one service that is dedicated to that.
Oh, that is
so then
excellent.
The people who have, again, issues maybe like this, or just like the conformity, or just like to go to the original hymns and service order, Yeah. So
that would be ideal for them.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Because some of the things they point out is a shorter service is better, and then sometimes if it's great that your church has the traditional, but if they don't, then maybe at another time during Sunday school hour or something they have a special service, short service for people with dementia.
true. Yeah.
Or a special event that during the month to address a spiritual activity that addresses those with dementia. So it's great that you have the traditional, because that's that old memory again. They have that old memory. So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. There's a great folks in the UK. I swear are well ahead of us on this, and source of some of the information that we put together in our when we're thinking about how to make a faith community more dementia friendly is from a site that's run by Christians on Aging, and it's CCOA is the acronym for it. It's in the UK, and they have a great practical guide on growing dementia friendly churches. So this is your first time hearing about this in the context of faith community, if you'll just go to that Christians on Aging, CCOA, growing dementia-friendly churches. Just Google that. That can kind of get you started on thinking about some things.
And so Kathy is really computer literate, and so she's created an infograph that we would be happy to share with people that are interested in this. But part of it is, by starting, you would have a Dementia Live simulation where we would come in and have the Dementia Live experience. And we want the leadership team to experience it, to know, how valuable of a lesson it is. And so as you go from the, head of the church, it's going to have more power, more meat in it for the rest of the congregation, And so we would be willing to come and provide the experience for any community. And then the leadership team would have a discussion about creating a dementia-friendly faith environment at their facility, and we can help with that too.
Facilitate that. We can share, some learnings from other faith communities that through our resource search that we found that can at least jumpstart that discussion, like talking about worship, talking about communication, how that needs to be different, talk about the physical environment.
And the point is that by experiencing this, they'll get the idea of what it is as a person to have dementia.
Yes,
so it's for you guys going in, and there's actually a hands-on process that you do. Can you talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind? I know I'm cutting into your time.
Yeah, no,
I was thinking
good.
it's very interesting.
Yeah, so you put the first thing is to gear up, and gearing up is actually you're putting on your person things that are going to impair you when you do some task later on, and that gear is designed to mimic age-related and dementia-related issues. So we put on some headphones, and they have random weird noises that make you not think so well. We put some glasses on that mimic maybe glaucoma or you sense your peripheral vision closing in like someone with dementia would experience. Put some gloves on so your fine motor skills don't work. And then we give you, after you get all the gear on, we give you a list of instructions, and in 7 to 10 minutes, you attempt to do those things that you've been instructed to do. That may be putting a puzzle together, or it may be
zipping a jacket,
button a shirt,
feeding the dog.
Feeding the dog, writing your address on an envelope. And it is, to the person, impactful. We've had people break out in hives, many people cry, many jerk the headphones off and say, I just can't take it anymore. And that's just 7 to 10 minutes. Think about someone with dementia that lives with this 24/7, and they freak out over, a 7 to 10 minute. That's how impactful it is for the general person that tries to do it.
And that's the kind of information you need to have in order to determine what things you can do in your community, what changes you can make, impactful changes that you can make.
Right.
Everybody can talk.
Right.
But if you're going to be wasting a lot of time doing something that's not necessarily going to focus on the whole concept at hand, this is something that they can do that. So you guys go to those, you go to those places?
And so you can put your you can put yourself in their shoes after that, and then you can start, as you put your thinking cap on. Okay, what can
And that's
we
what we
different?
do is afterwards too. We have a empowerment session where all the people that participated, we discuss the feelings that they were having, and by discussing that, they have a better understanding of what individuals with dementia are going through, and why some of the behaviors they're having it. And that, once you have that aha moment, then we're able to break through and, come up with some outstanding solutions.
Yep.
Brilliant.
And some of the suggestions we read, really are geared toward the ministry staff themselves. I don't envy a minister because they're talking about burnout. They've got to be really candidates for burnout. Sometimes when you go to a home and you're ministering to someone with dementia, just think about, or at the church ministering to them, sometimes it's just, you have to remind yourself, just show up. You don't have to have all the answers. Just show up and be present, and that's enough. You can't have the answers for everyone when they have dementia. And go easy on yourself, and just, if you can connect with the person, that's a major success sometimes. You don't have to go any further than that. And getting others in the community, in the faith community, to reach out to them too. And it's everyone, when you're at church or anywhere and you encounter someone with dementia, don't assume they remember your name. Go ahead and say, now, do you remember me? If you kind of sense they don't.
And don't be offended if they don't.
And remind them. Go ahead and remind them, I'm so-and-so, and maybe you maybe mention if they knew your parent, mention your parent's name. I'm so-and-so's daughter or son, so that they can connect, and always be go over the top, and I think in being friendly toward them. That goes a long way in communication with someone, both in a faith setting and just in general.
Yeah, just in general. Yeah. And then, as Kathy was saying too, when you go to an individual's home, it's important to train the volunteers, to know what to expect, because not everyone knows what to expect with dementia. So I just feel that by having the experience that they have a little bit more tools in their toolbox to be able to deal with whatever circumstance they're walking into.
And we're also fast paced, so when you ask someone with dementia a question, give them time to respond and process what you say. Don't rush to fill in that gap of silence. Give them a minute to get their senses about them and then come back with an answer. That's the respectful thing to do.
Right. Yeah. And then if there's noise, or the TV or the radio is on, turn it off while you're there so that they can concentrate on what you're saying.
Yep. Absolutely.
But I think we forget to do that.
Yeah. And another thing is, and I've seen this with people we all should know better, is don't correct them or don't, embarrass them in any way. Like, oh, Mom, don't you remember? You remember Aunt so-and-so. Or you remember our neighbor so-and-so. Don't embarrass them or say, no, it's not Wednesday, Mom, it's Friday.
Not only that just increases the whole frustration level. And a person with dementia, I think, has that frustration all the time anyway.
They know they don't know.
Right.
So you're kind of
rubbing it in.
Rubbing it in, the obvious.
Yeah.
So don't correct and don't embarrass, because if they could do better, we have to live in their world. They can't live in ours. That's something we should all remember.
And it's so hard to go to another world. Because we're so based on doing what we do in our society and having those expectations.
Absolutely. I think that's why so many people kind of fake it.
Yeah.
Right.
For a while until they get called out,
Right. So those are really, really important things to remember.
And so let's give them our contact information, because
that would be good.
I'm looking at the clock and I cannot believe that it's like getting this time already.
Long, yep.
And so again, my name is Jeanette Palmer, and I'm a master trainer for AgeUcate. We provide Dementia Live, and you can reach me at 847-396-9000. I serve, like the northwest suburbs, and would be happy to come to your faith-based community to share this information.
Yep. And I'm Kathy Wetters, and I'm a master trainer at AgeUcate also. And you can reach me at 630-879-1965, or my email is kathy@ageucate.com.
And again, we're willing to come to wherever you are and, share the experience and even have more conversation. if you'd like to contact us, Kathy gave you her email address, and perhaps she would send one of these infographics to you so that you'd be better understand.
If you don't mind, can I just get that information and you guys will come out and do the Dementia Live demonstration?
We will.
Right.
Yep.
And then, or for that infograph, can I get a way, do you want to have people by email through this email that you're going to provide?
Just Kathy at AgeUcate.com.
And AGEDUCAK.
AGE.
DUCA.
No, not
AGE.
you. AGEU.
AgeUcate. There's no D.
Okay.
AgeUcate.com. Yep. And then there's a link, and the infographic that I'll send you a link to, the infographics, one has like the articles that a lot of this information came from, the source articles. When you click on it, it takes you right to the source articles. So it's one infographic, but then it opens up to a lot of other avenues for you to explore.
Wonderful.
Yep.
So it looks like it's time for us to wrap up.
Yeah.